Hello guys, I'm Paul, and a little bit about myself is I was born and raised in California, and I lived in Fresno originally, which is Central California, for 12 years before eventually making the move to La Habra, California. So moving here was a bit of a culture shock just because of how differently people acted, which sounds weird because Fresno and LA are only about 4 hours away, but people do interact differently. And it's quite interesting, I guess, seeing the differences. But with that, I went to La Habra, went middle school here, both years, went high school here all 4 years, where I played water polo, 4 years, varsity 3 years, and took a few APs as well. I was committed. And also I started my work life here. I work as an electrician, but I also have done plumbing work on the side. Now, I want to improve my plumbing, but I'm definitely not calling myself a plumber, so please don't make that mistake. And I would argue my two greatest strengths are my skills in terms of analysis and my analytical prowess, as well as just being a hard worker in general. Now, I say analytical skills. What I mean by that is kind of an array of things. I'm good with people. Just by having a single conversation with someone, I could usually learn a lot, not just about their character, but also about their strengths and weaknesses, maybe what they believe, all just from a conversation or two. And I'm also good with numbers and looking at the broader scope of things, perhaps on a job site, seeing what materials do we need, or do we need more people here? I'm pretty good with these skills, and I've had to employ them quite frequently. I also would argue that I'm a hard worker. I've spent a lot of my life working hard and diligently on tasks, whether it be as an electrician or in school, where I've always pushed myself to do as much as I know I can in order to make the most progress and have the best achievements. And I say those have carried over into my life quite well, and that is why I would argue my two greatest strengths are my analytical skills as well as my hardworking nature. In terms of the debate, would you rather work by yourself or work with a group? This might be a bit surprising considering I work with people all the time, but I would say I prefer working by myself. And my two reasons for that is because I feel like I learn more when I'm working by myself, as well as it forces accountability on myself. And by this, I mean that by learning more, I feel like when working with other people, they use their strengths and I use my strengths, and that's good. But the problem with that is that means my weaknesses are still weaknesses. I'm not honing in on my weaknesses at all. I'm letting other people's strengths replace my weaknesses, which is generally good. But let's say in terms of a difficult math problem, I have to know how to do it myself. Sure, I could ask someone else how to do it, or someday someone can show me how to do it, but I want to know how to do things myself. I want to be good at what I do I want to be good at what I do. And with that comes the expectation where I have to work by myself and be able to figure everything out by myself. I have to completely understand everything in my own head, and then I can call myself proficient at it. And I also think working by yourself forces accountability onto yourself, which is either a very good thing or a very bad thing, depending on who you are and the kind of work and the quality of work you produce is. And I say this because when you're working in a group, you're drugged down by the bad people and you're brought up by the good people. So it balances out to about a middle ground. I'm not saying every group you work with has bad people, but I can't stand working with someone who is incompetent or at the very least is lazy. I despise laziness. I really do. And with that, I'd rather work by myself. And if I fail at something, I would rather just accept that rather than fail something because someone else didn't do their part. Which is why I prefer working in a group. And with that, I would say, which is why I prefer working by myself. And with that, I would say, overall, working by myself is preferred to me because it forces accountability on myself as well as it allows me to learn more. Thank you.